What's up, everyone, and welcome to the RRBG podcast. In this episode, I talked to comedian, actor, and musician Mario Ramil. We talked about his stand-up career. We talked about his skit videos that are going viral all over the Instagrams and the TikToks. We talked about Cuban culture. We talked about music. We talked about 9/11. It was an awesome conversation. I hope you guys enjoy it. Make sure to follow him at Mario Ramil on all the things. Please like, share, and subscribe and hit all those buttons down there so that we can fight the algorithm together. If you get a chance, go to our Patreon page. Go to patreon.com/RRBG and support the podcast. Cheers.
Dude, I picked the worst year to go sober. I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to go a year sober right at the start of 2020.
Yeah, that's the worst.
A year sober.
That's the worst.
The worst, dude.
I think that's the year I drank the most.
I know, and it would have been if I wouldn't have stuck to it, but I did. One whole year. Didn't feel any different.
Congrats, yeah, congrats, but yeah. That's what I've heard from a few of my friends that drink a lot. It's like, I don't feel better.
I will say this. To go to sleep, the amount of time, the delay that you normally have to filter out thoughts and just finally go to sleep was a lot quicker. Like I would just lay down and just go to sleep. Like there was no, interruption.
The circus wasn't going.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to keep most of that in, but let me give you a proper introduction.
Go ahead.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the RRBG podcast. Today, I'm being joined for a very special Hispanic Heritage Month.
Is that what it is? Oh, thank you.
No. A very special guest here, a Cuban, Miami, to my heart, Mario Ramil, comedian, actor, musician, and dad, apparently.
Yes.
I like that dad is the first thing on there. That's good.
Of course, dude.
That's good.
Of course. She's old enough where she looks at Instagram type. You got to have that first.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I think about that all the time. Like I don't think I want to have kids.
You don't have any?
I don't have any. But
okay.
if I did, like that's the part that terrifies me. Like, how do I control the social media input?
Kids are overrated, dude. How old are you? You're in your what?
40.
40? 40? We've as we progressed in society, we're having kids a lot older now, I think.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's not easy when you look around what's going on. Like hey, should I? I don't know.
Right, like I was talking to my fiance the other day. We're talking about her grandmother's home, and I was like, "What?" She bought that in the 50s here in a small town. I don't know how close you are to Miami. There's a small town called Hialeah here where I was born.
Oh, I know Hialeah.
There's where you're in LA or you're here.
I'm in LA, but I was in Miami for 20 years, so I know Hialeah well.
Got out. Okay, so Hialeah. And they're one of the first settlers, if you will. And they bought their house for $9,000.
Ooh.
So obviously everything's relative, but you barely find a used car for that.
No, yeah. You get what do they call it? Los Cubanos call it una cafetera. Una cafetera. That's the car you get.
Yeah. So obviously, yes, there's a lot of obstacles when it comes to thinking about having a child, bearing a child, or raising one.
Bro, I can barely keep myself alive. Do you think I can keep another, like a third?
That was precisely my thought. Listen, if I wouldn't have had a kid by accident, no, I don't want to say that. If I didn't have a kid by the grace of, if I wasn't blessed with a child that God gave me, that sounds better.
Yeah.
I don't know, dude. I'm so indecisive about shit. I don't know if I would have. I don't know when I would have been ready.
Yeah. Well, that's what I hear too. A lot of people, when I tell them I'm not ready, they're like, "You're never going to be ready." It's just it's one of those things you just got to have it and then deal with it.
Yeah, that's a great way to just have it and fucking deal with it. I'm sorry. You cursed on this, right?
Yeah. It's
there you go.
So, okay, I want to get into how Cuban you are. Yeah, like, were you born in Cuba or were you born in Miami?
I was not born in Cuba. I was born in Hialeah Hospital, 1989, right here.
Hialeah Hospital.
Hialeah Hospital. I'm Hialeah through and through. I went to Hialeah High.
Oh,
Born in Hialeah Hospital. Lived in Hialeah most of my life.
damn, son. For those that are not aware and maybe don't, I mean, if you don't speak Spanish, this episode's not for you. But
I've been speaking Spanish this whole time.
Yeah, it's been Spanish the whole time. No,
oh, fuck. No. When you're bilingual like that, you never know which one you're. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, no, I was going to say Hialeah. Some people call it La Ciudad que Progresa, the city that progresses.
No one calls it. Mayors try to call it that, so people move over.
The majority of people call it Hialeah Mierda Fango y Factoria, or one of those versions.
It's you know, it's just there's so much happening in such a small town. There's so many groups of people in such a small town. You know, you'll go 2 or 3 blocks, and it's you know, there's a lot of restaurants, a lot of nice things going on, and then you cross over, and there's prostitutes and
Jamaica motel.
And motel. There's a whole strip of motels, but then you go into a $1 billion community, you know, mansions and.
See, but that's no Hialeah. That's Miami Gardens or whatever they. Hialeah Gardens.
That's what I'm saying. There's like areas where all of that is still Hialeah, but it's just, I don't know. It's this big melting pot, really is, of relatively the same kind of. It's mostly Hispanics, but you have everything there too, you know. So, but that's.
It's a lot of Cubans, a lot of Haitians, a lot of
Haitians, a lot of Cubans. There's a lot of New Yorkers now.
Really, New Yorkers came to Hialeah.
A lot of them came down, dude. A lot of them came down. You see them sprinkled around, confused at how to pronounce restaurants.
It's the other way around, right? Because when my parents left Cuba, they went to New Jersey first,
right,
and then they went to Miami. And it's like, you know, most of the time it's Miami to New Jersey.
Yeah, it's usually the trajectory. Yeah. But either way, you end up here. Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, bueno, okay, so your parents, how Cuban are they? Did they like escape Cuba in Mariel? Did they escape in Pina, you know?
Early Cubans. They were early Cubans. They were 60s Cubans. Ooh. So they're also amused at how much the city has changed.
Well, how did they get over here? Was it the lottery thing? Was it you know, balsas? How did they get here?
No. It was they got you know, that's a great question. I'm not completely sure, but I know that my father's basically in the opening credits of Scarface, but my mother, my father was fucking una traya.
So that's Mariel probably, because I think they show Mariel in the beginning of Scarface.
No, Mariel, no, what do they call it?
The big boat that ran away, that like fled with everybody on it.
Yeah, right. My dad was you know, he was in that mix. But my mother in the '60s came over with her father and her stepmother, and it was on a plane. So I don't know how they arranged that, but it was on a plane.
It's la loteria, I think. They had
la loteria.
They used to do the lottery where some people would win
actually
tickets out.
You're right. My God, how insane is that, dude?
I mean, I felt
that they got their freedom, I guess. Fuckers.
Yeah, I feel that way about Miami. Like when I finally got out of Miami, it was like, oh, I won the lottery. I made it out. Woo.
It's not that bad, bro. You went to LA. Like, that's any fucking better.
Yeah, I mean, LA is basically Miami. It's just got a little bit more rock and roll, which
with a Mexican accent. That's all it is.
There's good tacos. But you know, what's funny is I want to come out here. I want to start a Cuban restaurant out here because they don't exist out here. They have some.
When I went to LA a few years ago, I stayed with shout out to Jenny Lorenzo. I don't know if you know
Jenny.
Yeah, so I stayed with her for a week, and the first day she was shooting something, whatever. So I was like, that's cool. I'll go in the town or whatever. And she's like, actually, there's a badass little Cuban cafe. I'm like, get the fuck out of here, like. like I didn't even want to go because I'm like, no, dude, I'm in LA. I want to go try some,
Yeah.
But I ended up going, and it was, I think somewhere in Burbank, maybe.
At Portos. Did you go to Portos?
What was it?
Portos?
Hey, maybe.
Portos
Maybe
Bakery?
It was like right on man,
Magnolia?
Is it Magnolia? Maybe. But it was a little coffee shop, but it was not what you would expect.
Oh no, you're talking about Cafecito. Probably, I don't know. There's a Cuban coffee place, which is not bad. I'll give them that.
It wasn't bad. It was just it was coming from Miami. Just wasn't.
It's hard, man. It's not.
I
out here.
out back there screaming.
Yeah, it's not. It's not. You don't get the "Que tu quieres" at the. That's the peak Miami customer service. What do you want?
There's no ticket system.
No, you just walk up, push the old man
girl,
aside.
Hi, for a café con leche? I was like, no, dude.
Nah.
Oh.
I went to Portos, which is like a big bakery out here, Cuban bakery, and the Cuban sandwiches are all right, but the bread is French bread. I'm like, yeah. Get out of here.
I did a show in Tampa, and it was my first time in Tampa, and they're telling me, oh, you have to try the Cuban sandwiches. Now, I will be fair. I got to be fair. I'm not a huge Cuban sandwich lover. Like, if it's there, I'll take a bite, but I don't go out to places and order a Cuban sandwich. But whatever. So I go to Tampa, and they're like, oh, you have to try it. Dude, it has fucking salami in it.
I know.
It has salami, pretty much an Italian.
What's worse is that they think that that's the right way. Like they think they created the Cuban. I'm like, no.
Oh, dude, it was a huge debacle. And I even had a guy, very Mark Chapman-like, was like, hey, when you come here, don't talk about the Cuban sandwich.
Fuck. Yeah.
That's the first thing, obviously, I talk about when I was at the Improv. But I was really scared for my life because he was like, yo, we really originated it down here, so don't fucking do your little Miami has the right Cuban sandwich. And I'm like, dude, it's an Italian, somebody's fat Italian grandfather made that shit and said, no, it's Cuban too. And then of course they, but no, how are you going to have an Italian influence of a Cuban original thing? So
yeah, it's ridiculous, man. I used to work in Cigar City Brewing in Florida, in Tampa, and the owner, Joey, shout out, he's still my boy, but like, pero bro, like we get into fights about it because it's like, yeah, we originated. I'm like, fuck you. Cubans didn't have salami. It didn't exist.
nor do we like do they really care about spice shit like that?
Oh, yeah.
So that was a huge thing, but yeah, but here we are.
Well, all right. Tell me a little bit about what got you. I mean, I want to ask you what got you into comedy, but the thing is, people may not know this. Cubans are inherently very funny most of the time, regardless.
That's fair.
I would say most Cubans that I know are fucking hilarious. It's just very difficult to translate their humor to English.
Right.
Which you're doing a great job. I mean, your videos are killing it online, but those Cuban 101 videos, that's really what got me to reach out to you,
Thank you, bro. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, Cubans like any, I think, immigrants here in the States, like I think we deal with a lot of things with humor. You know what I'm saying? So my grandfather, and you're right when you say like there's a layer of comedy, but it wasn't necessarily that they're comedians. But yeah, my grandfather just talking, the way they would talk was just aggressively, like there was nothing just kind of said, midway. It was always like, I'm on you, and it was like,
yeah.
Why was that so aggressive?
It's always so over the top. It's insane.
Always. And so that's always made me, I don't come from a very, from what you would consider like a very, tied to their roots Cuban family, by default, obviously, I grew up, in the Cuban culture and being on
Comunista. No, I'm just kidding.
No, Jesus Christ. Get that out before you ruin my fucking career.
Comunista.
But yeah. Well, being from Miami, obviously, anything even close to the shade of blue, it was like Crips and Bloods over here with communists and everything. But yeah. So I didn't grow up with that tight knit root. Like we didn't have Noche Buena. like the full out lechon and all that shit. Like it was, so I would always see the Cubans that people talked about that were like around my community. And it would always, because I wasn't like that. My grandfather wasn't really like that, like the fucking kind of a chavalante Cuban that, and I don't know. I always found it funny how, how it doesn't matter what occupation they're in, they're all just, they kind of, they're all just kind of deliver whatever occupation. It could be a doctor, it could be a construction worker, it could be a, whatever. It's the lines are always delivered the same way. And so I don't know. I started like inherently just kind of like parroting that without even knowing, And so I guess that's a lot of my comedy comes from just that, observing, and I love characters.
Yeah.
So that doctor, the first video that really popped out for me was the Cuban doctor, and that was really a caricature of the doctor that I really had growing up in East Hialeah. He was very much medio cochironte. He would clean his ears before he touched you. Yeah, dude. There's nothing ever wrong with you, like psychologically. It was always like that.
No, mental health. What? Yeah. Get out of here.
No. Yeah, so it was very much like that. So a lot of, even if I'm not doing a Cuban character, I still like to add elements of that because it just adds so much more flair and flavor to the character,
Yeah, for sure, man. And I don't know what that is or where that comes from, but like I said, I feel like most of my Cuban friends, they're hilarious. But if I were to like explain it to my wife is Cuban, but she 100% Americana, like doesn't really speak Spanish. Right. Her last name is Gonzalez, and she doesn't speak Spanish.
So we call it arrepentida. That's what we call it.
Infiltra. Yeah, it's weird because I can't like when like the Peachy Boys, for example. Like I was trying to show her that 300 parody that they did.
Right.
And I was dying on the floor, just rolling around laughing.
Great skit, yeah.
And then she's like, I don't get it. I'm like. And even if I were to translate the words, it doesn't make. Yeah, it's not funny. It's not funny.
It's it's like retelling a bit. It's you had to be there. Yeah. You have to really understand where it's coming from. I mean, I like to think that though I do a lot of comedy, a lot of Cuban comedy, what some would consider Cuban comedy or stuff like that. I do always make it a point to be relatable enough where if you don't know Spanish or Cuban phrases or just anything Cuban related, you can still figure out kind of where I'm going with the joke, who the character is. You can still figure out what the punchlines are more or less, even with my stand-up, I always make it a point to, even though sometimes I'm in character and I'll say some Spanish stuff, I try to make it physical enough and try to use enough English words in there so you get the context of it,
Yeah. That's what I really liked about your video is that the breakdown, because I think that's the best way someone can try and explain, because the Cuban, not just Cuban but Spanish, like, it's not just the words, it's the way it's said, the hand gestures, the energy you're putting into it, and that's hard to translate. Right.
So yeah, I mean, I appreciate that. Thank you.
And another thing about the Cuban culture that I've noticed too is roasting is like natural, like they call it cuero, which translates to leather, which makes no sense.
All our shits.
Yeah, I have some. I wrote down a few things that I'm just like, these are things that are hard to translate, that make no sense if you translate, like me cago en la mierda, like me cago en 10. I shouldn't.
Yeah.
On 10, like, is it like, am I counting to 10? Am I shitting on a piece of paper with the number 10 on it?
Right.
Balabinga to the dick. I mean.
Yeah, those are the things you just can't. You have to just accept and not try to translate. Yeah, like actually, in one of my videos, the El Gesto was this, right? Like I'm leaving.
Oh yeah.
And some fucking Cuban historians made it a point to message me. They all got together and they're like, we got to tell them where this came from. But I got several messages of people telling me that this, que me voy echando, or I'm leaving, or whatever, is from the reins. What was that on the horses?
Yeah, the reins.
From the horses when they like, you know, smack them to fucking leave.
Yeah.
Me voy echando, like that. And I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, that's cool.
From where these things come from, you know what I'm saying? Like, I would love to know. I'm sure there's some like reasonable reason why you would shit on 10, you know?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't know. My uncle's super Cuban, and he lives out here in LA with me. Not with me. He doesn't live in the house with us, but I went to go see him on Sunday actually, and he did the fucking me tiene hasta aquí, and I'm like, dude, what?
Yeah. You know, and that's something else. Like we don't notice how often like and some of those are like older like family members that we catch doing that, but we do it. Like I'm sure I do certain things that I don't even catch, you know what I'm saying? But now that I've kind of made it a point to like, you know, I've pointed it out, so many people are messaging me like, dude, my husband does that, dude, my dad all the time does that. You know, so it's fun to hear that and see that, you know.
Yeah, when you're in Miami, it's natural. But like right. When I moved out here to LA, like everybody would point it out, like, bro, you're really Cuban. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm from New Jersey. I'm not Cuban. I mean, I am, but
right.
But I don't see it because it's so natural.
You were born there?
I wasn't born in Cuba. No. I was
born in New Jersey.
In New Jersey, my parents fled Cuba to Spain and conceived me out there, and then they moved to New Jersey, and she popped me out there.
You were born in Spain?
No. I was born in New Jersey. They fucked in Spain, and then they popped me out. I was like, you should have just waited. Let me get this.
How sexy would that be, dude? No, estoy español, pero then you went to New Jersey, then you lived in New York. I mean, in Miami, then you live now in LA. Like, dude. Well-rounded, dude.
Well-rounded. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird to be in LA and be this Cuban. Apparently, I didn't even consider it. So now I'm trying to I'm trying to start a new character where it's like the angry Cuban in LA, where I just go to all these shitty Cuban spots here and just call them out on their bullshit.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about your what do you think is better for you, the stand-up or these internet, like the videos on, you know, the reels and the TikToks and all that? What's working better for you? Like personally, not just financially.
In what sense? Like in how people are
fulfilling
in career, like, huh?
Like fulfilling for you. Like what do you prefer to do? These comedy skit videos or stand-up?
Dude, you know, I have my like eras. Like I have my periods of time where I'm like, there's moments where I'm like creatively something just comes to you and like tells you like, there's like skits and there's characters and there's things that like just come to you in form of skits, in form of, you know, put the camera there. This character is going to interact with this character and there's no other way. It's not going to translate well on stage. It's just a skit.
Yeah.
And there'll be times where I get in that mode where I'm just pumping out skits. And that's really where the Cuban 101 shit came from. It actually came before that. It came going, actually I was here in the living room and I don't know, I said something or I might've went like this. I forgot what it was exactly, but I'm like, oh, that's such a Cuban way of like, and obviously then you go from that to like, well, can I do something with that? Like, do every Cuban does that? So it started with like Cuban body language, and I did that video. And that same week we went to Disney, and I was like, well, imagine a fucking Cuban dad. Like I remember going with my friend's dad and how he was in Cuba in Disney, and how they relate to all of the prices. You know, can we eat in Disney? Can we? So I started playing with that, and then those videos went crazy. You know, that caught mad traction. I was like, well. You know, I wonder, I don't just want to I just don't want to use the Cuban. I want to really make a joke with it. I want to really dissect it. And so then that started going, well, why do they laugh at the dad doing like that? Is it his, like when I was, when we're in Disney, I was telling the kids in the skit, Dale, lo vamos. So I went, oh, and that's and people were pointing that out, like, oh my God, something like that would call us. So I'm like, how many other gestos like this, like, wait, that we never really acknowledge, but that they're just, you don't even need to talk. You just know exactly. So that started the whole Cuban 101 series, and I did like fucking 12 of those. Yeah. And then now my mind is more in long form stuff. I want to do skits, short films, film writing, directing, editing. Now more focused on that. I got a show next month at the Improv, and right towards the end of the month, I know just the way my body is, I'm going to start thinking in form of stand-up. So yeah. I don't necessarily, there's times where I just leave all of it and I just start playing music for a month. I'll just focus on making a song. And that's what I've realized, as long as I'm creating, and I know it sounds, whatever, but as long as I'm actually creating, it could be even, for a while there, I got into like painting. And I'll sit there and I go, well, what kind of cool collage I could make, or, whatever, like vintage stuff. I started collecting, old baseball cards, and I got like the wrappers they came in, like the 90s, 1980s wrappers and tops. And so I started creating them out. I made a collage. I made this whole like portrait thing, and I did that for like a whole month. So that's kind of how my brain works. I don't know if that's fucking ADHD. I don't know what mental disorder I might have, but that's just how I don't stay focused on one thing. And maybe that's a negative, but I just feel better that way,
Whatever, dude, it's not negative. It's a matter of what makes you create and what fulfills you. Obviously you got to keep in mind trying to make money to pay for your family or whatever, but ultimately most creative people that I know are undiagnosed. I'll just say that.
They got something.
Like, even myself, dude, like now I've been hanging around a lot at the Comedy Store in Hollywood. I have a podcast there, and just being around those people, when you're just consuming it as a fan, it's one thing. You're like, oh, these guys are hilarious. But then once you get to know them and you're like, oh, this guy has autism. Got it. All right.
This guy's tortured. Yeah. Oh, I got it. He laughs so he doesn't kill himself.
Right.
Yeah.
And then that's made me kind of like turn around and like, wow, do I have a certain level of something? I mean, I have to, because it's I just constantly add projects and I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to do this show, and that's got to be something. That's not.
Well, I've also realized, I've also I don't try to I don't question it too much. For a while I did there when I started, but I realized a lot of it is discipline. A lot of it is me going like, oh, I'll start this or whatever, and then just kind of like get distracted and be like, oh, then let me start this, I'll get back to that. And then you realize you never get back to that. Mm-hmm. I don't think that's necessarily a mental thing we're dealing with. I honestly think that a lot of that is just not being disciplined enough to like carry something through the whole way, Yeah. But yes, the rest of it could be, just the way we're wired. Artists do, they say we work with a different part of the brain, maybe it's just the way that part's wired,
Yeah, I mean, I always found it interesting. You mentioned it earlier, but how in Cuban culture, Miami, the whole mental health thing doesn't exist.
Right.
It's not an option. Like, I talked to my dad and he's like, how you doing? I'm like, I'm hanging in there. And he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, I've been going through some stuff. I've had some depressing days. And they're like, deja de comer mierda y ponte las pilas.
Te volviste un poco rarito.
Te fuiste para Los Ángeles. Ya veo lo que está pasando.
Eres comunicador. Come mierda. And you're like,
ponte las pilas. Like, what batteries? Coffee?
Well, I think that's what it is, right? I think like we've as a generation, as we progress forward, children of immigrants like that, we've had it a little better than them. Like their generation and the ones before them didn't have time to really. I'm not saying it was right. I'm just saying they didn't have time to stop and go like, but am I having enough like me time? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, what is me time?
What the fuck is me time, dude? No, go to work 12 hours, come home pissed at your wife, and then fucking die of a heart attack at 45. Like that was just stock factory, immigrant parent life. And now we have it a little better than they do. And hopefully our children will have it a lot better than we did, So, until eventually the civilization just fucking perishes and then we start over.
That's kind of where I'm at, in hopes of let's just start over. We fucked up.
I think we should have done that 2020. I think you're right.
Yeah,
I think that should have been the year we all just go start it up again, dude.
Yeah, everybody's at home chilling out. Let's game plan. Let's do a brainstorm session.
I agree.
Start over.
It should have been just a board of a billion Zoom calls, all in one little squares, and we would have just agreed,
Yeah, that's actually, we're joking about it, but 2020 was the year that I realized that I have, mental health situation, because I'm sitting at home. I'm like, I'm drinking more than I normally drink. This is, is it over? Are we done?
You know what it is? You know what it was? I think we spend so much time, even drinking, for example. Everything around us is a distraction to not sit and really bask in how much unsolved shit you have inside of you. Like I think 2020 put such a pause. And then for most people, you really turn to your wife or husband or kid or whatever and really go like, do I fucking like you that much? Like, it's been 12 years. I don't even want to have a fucking conversation with you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And now I have to spend, most people fucking spend, more time at work that they have to just not to come home sometimes, like, because your problems, bills, this and that. And then really 2020 was the first year where like, dude, there's a lot of people that divorces and breakups and, but because that was the first time that the world kind of stopped and we had to be like, am I okay with this?
Yeah. I'm grateful that, I think that, I got to realize that, my wife and I are going to make it. Like, we made it through this. We're fine. It's fine. Like we were there together every day next to each other because, we weren't working. We were working from home. So, I wasn't leaving the house. I know Miami was a little different. Like Miami, the pandemic was kind of,
I think it was about an hour here. I think the pandemic hit us for an hour. And then we're like, this is just going to cough on everybody. We had the, the old chicken pox kind of like, let's have a chicken pox party.
Yeah.
That was Miami's mentality. Let's just fucking all just go somewhere and cough on each other.
Yeah, if we all get it at the same time, then we can get over it,
Yes. And people died everywhere. It was so bad. But, I think, we moved past it here and we really, which was kind of silly, but we really weren't too scared of it.
Yeah.
We should have been. And I think some of us were genuinely scared of it, but most of us were like, just kind of like I did my first sold out Miami improv show was 2020.
Okay.
It was half capacity because obviously we had regulations and stuff because of COVID, but people wanted to fucking go out. Like I tested it. I just it was towards the end of 2020, but I was just like, let me see if people wanted to laugh, man. People wanted to fucking see somebody.
Yeah.
Like they wanted to see a stranger, and share a moment with them because restaurants were, everything just fucking stopped.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, I hate to say it, but 2020 was one of the, sounds like I'm bragging, but one of the best years of my life. No, really.
Same. Yeah.
Introspective. Like it was introspective. My relationship grew, it was, damn, man. It was like, like life moves so fucking fast. It was kind of like the prayer that some people had of like, dude, I want to spend more time. Like, what would that be? Spending more time at home with my loved ones, and you know, and it happened.
Yeah.
It happened, you know, and it showed you how fucking fat and lazy you really are because you didn't do any of that shit you said you were gonna do.
Oh, dude, bro. I there was a moment, I think peak 2020, I think maybe like May or June, where I completely gave up. I stopped shaving my head. I stopped shaving my beard. I stopped showering every day. I was like, "Pare, I'm not even sweating. I'm in AC all day. What am I going to shower for?" And, you know, and I was just naked all the time. Like, fuck it. Like, why am I wearing pants?
Oh my God. I still operate that way.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to like hybrid back into, you know, society. So I'm
human again.
Yeah. LA is still fucking pretty, you know, we're back to doing live shows and having full crowds and everything. But I still see, you know, everywhere I go, there's people with masks and.
At comedy shows, you guys they're doing the masks?
No. It's not mandatory. It's not mandatory.
Oh,
but people still do it. Like they still have that in their head.
Like, dude? You know what? That shit got so fucking political, and I'm not getting into that specifically, but I don't blame people.
Yeah. Because
so much fucking information came from both sides, from everywhere.
Yeah.
You had Fauci going, hey, every day it was one thing. Hey, if you don't wear it, you get cancer, you know? And you're like, and then you had YouTube videos with 1 billion views of people like, do you know what those fucking masks are doing to your lungs? And like, it's just boom, 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 boom. So I don't blame, you know, people fucking see people with masks and they're like, fucking sheep. I'm like,
yeah, I hate that.
I don't blame anyone whether you want to wear it or not. I understand both sides because we went from, you know, I honestly believe we would never see a pandemic like in the US, like a pandemic. It became a global fucking pandemic in our lifetime.
Yeah.
That was fucking insane. That was insane. Like we lived 9/11. Fucking like when I'm dude, I'm not gonna stop talking when I'm a fucking grandfather, dude. Jesus Christ, all the shit we lived through, you know?
Yeah. You know, I was in New Jersey visiting when 9/11 happened.
No shit.
Yeah, dude. I woke up. I was staying with my mom, and she woke me up. She's like, "Mijo, something's going on." And I'm like, "Okay." I wake up and I put on the news, and I saw the smoke on the first tower, and then I like open the window and I look at the window. I'm like, "Really?" I see it. You can see it.
Oh wow!
And I was like, "Wow, that's weird." And I was like, "You know what? You know, an airplane smashed into the Empire State Building often because they're small and they don't, I don't know. I didn't think anything of it. I was like, fuck it, I'm going back to sleep. Thank you." And I went back to sleep. And then she woke me. She's like, "Mijo, no. You got to wake up. It's getting worse." I'm like, "What?" It's like, look out the window and I saw the second plane hit. I was like, "What the fuck? Like, what's happening?" Ran to the street. I'm like, "That's it. It's over. We're under attack. We're all going to die." Like,
that was everyone's. Yeah, that was everyone's. I was in middle school.
Oh my God.
When that hit, and all the parents for some reason thought, okay, the Twin Towers in New York, and then the second attack is obviously going to be Palm Springs Middle School. So they all
strategically planned.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, we're gonna hit the towers, and we're gonna hit the little middle school there in Hialeah. That's how we're gonna get to them. And dude, it was chaos. It was chaos. But it happened in homeroom when I was in homeroom, and I remember Miss Wilson, her name was. She ran over to the TV. The TV was in the top right corner of the little portable, and she hits the TV, and the tower's smoking, and she covers her mouth. And me being uncultured, you know, I never traveled. My mom's anxiety with planes and everything, so I've never been out of Miami. So I see that, and immediately I thought, damn, we got hit by tourists. I never even heard the name terrorist. I never even heard the term terrorist. Damn, and then the Twin Towers. I'm like, where the fuck is the Twin Towers? Like, I was so lost. I thought tourists hit the Twin Towers, where I had no idea where the fuck the Twin Towers were. And then the second plane hit, and that's when she lost it. I remember that. She started fucking crying. She jumped on the phone. I think she knew somebody that was and then immediately like kids started getting called, and yeah, it was fucking insane, man.
But yeah, we have a lot of like the point was we have a lot of stories to tell our grandkids at some point, you know, and the pandemic being one of the craziest things. Because I mean, I've seen it in movies, you know. I saw Contagion, and that's another thing. My Cuban friends hit me up, bro. ¿Tuviste eso? That movie predicted it. I'm like, they did it though? Did it predict it, or is it just?
Yeah, you can say it about and then people were like even studying World War Z and shit. You see, that's the prequel to slow down, bro. Slow down, dude.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I don't know. Let me talk to you about your music. We haven't really touched on that, and you know, what do you play? Everything?
Not everything. No, I play guitar.
Okay.
I play drums. I've dabbled on bass, but it's just bass is a whole other thing. But and then I've been producing. I messed with Music Maker like '99 when it, around that era, and then I transitioned to Fruity Loops, and then slowly got into Ableton, and so yeah, just music has always been an interest.
So what are you doing, reggaeton? No.
What the fuck? That's stereotypical. Actually, I dropped a reggaeton album.
Yeah.
I didn't say that. No, dude. I honestly, I have weird influences. Like my favorite band's Deftones, and I just love.
Oh, we're friends now. We're best friends now.
Is that right? Is that right? Oh, they're from around your way over there.
Yeah.
And early on, I was my mother. My mom too. I give her a lot of credit for making me this weird, because she had a weird interest in music and arts and stuff like that. Even though she always pushed me for the academic stuff, but she was she would talk to me early about like Charlie Chaplin and how he was musically inclined. He played piano, and he and business. He had a good business mind too. And Lucille Ball and Desi Lou, and their company, and Desi was it
Arnaz?
Desi Arnaz, right? And how they started their company, and so and his music, and just there was so much of that at home. Like we were that for us. Like we would have conversations at dinner table about things like that. She loved the piano. She was big in piano. And she always pushed me to play piano. I didn't give a fuck about piano. I wanted to fucking pick up the guitar and jam with my boys,
Yeah.
And somewhere along high school, so I started making beats early on because I loved the fact that I could make something and then run over to a car or something, put it in the CD, and now you hear what I made for you. Like that. I don't know. Again, I loved creating. Yeah. So to have then someone sit back and go, "You made that?" Like, and feel a certain way, like I can make them feel something that might have not necessarily been what I was feeling, so that sparked it. And then somewhere around high school, all my friends were clubbing and doing all that party shit. And I'm like, dude, I started thinking about like, where the fuck is this? Where is this road gonna go? Like if I need to figure some shit out now, because I didn't see myself doing the college 4-year thing and then going. I didn't see that shit. Yeah. Not for me, So then somewhere in high school, I think it was around sophomore year, I go, let me try this drama shit, because I like to read a lot of biographies, and a lot of people I looked up to did something like that in high school or college. They found the arts. And so I signed up for that and made some friends there. And it was a little too dramatic for me. I think I was really looking for film stuff, but kids blue hair singing in the hallways and shit. I'm like, this shit's fucking a lot.
Rent and West Side Story.
Rent and Good Morning Baltimore. Like, shut the fuck! It's 8 in the morning.
I can't deal with that shit.
It was too much. So I'm like, maybe that's not just. But whatever. Point is that through that as well, I found some of my friends were playing guitar and some played drums and I always had an interest in that, and I just migrated towards hanging out with people like that, and I wanted to catch up. So I quickly picked up a guitar, and I never learned music or anything, but I learned how to play guitar. And then I loved the drums. I always wanted drums, but I never had it. I never had drums until my friend got drums, and I would go over there every fucking day and learn. I learned how to play drums before he did.
Nice.
So, and then we started recording ourselves, and it became one of those things where I just like, you know, and then you know, I loved it. I loved it. It consumed me. And then I started finding people like Deftones. Deftones came to my life somewhere in middle school, Minerva, and then I lost them. I remember hearing the progression of that beat and how slow, but how kind of hip hoppy it still was.
Yeah.
And I was like, whatever the fuck that sound like. I even remember where I was. I was in my friend's living room. We're watching TV, and that shit came on, like MTV or something. And I was like, that sound, whatever that shit is, because up to that point it was like hip hop and this and that. But I was like, whatever that sound is. And then I lost them. And then somewhere in high school, I think I heard like Back to School or Digital Bath or something. And that started a whole other. So I started making music like that, very shoegazing kind of
spacey.
You know, really got into, you know, Radiohead and Tool a little, you know. Then their side project Team Sleep, I got heavy into that.
Team Sleep's great. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. So I lost myself. People were like, "What the fuck happened to this guy?" But I lost myself in that world. I loved it. I couldn't get enough of it.
That's a tough one for, you know, like, it's funny. You and I are pretty much the same. We're kindred spirits in that sense. Like,
Lovers.
I grew up in Miami, basically. You know, even though I was born in New Jersey, I was in Miami from the age of 15 to my 30s, and it was the same thing. I was all cute Cubanitos. You know, all my friends were balseritos. I had just come over, and I'm there like showing them, like, bro, I just found this. Check out this fucking Deftones song, or check out this, you know, Metallica song. And they're like, ¿Qué es eso?
What is that, man?
Una gritería. What's going on? It's a satánico. I'm like, bro, whatever. It's tough to be into that kind of music in Miami as a young Latino kid. It's not.
Yeah. I mean, I will say though, I didn't completely identify with that. Like, I wasn't a rocker per se. Like the, you know, that term that they would brand you the moment you listen to like a Metallica song. You're like, he's gonna beat his ass up. Fucking nerd. He's a rocker. You know. I didn't identify completely with that because I just loved. You know, I would hear music and I wasn't thinking about, oh, it's Daddy Yankee, Gasolina. I'm thinking of like, did I really like the fucking kick that they used in that song? Like, I wonder what sample pack that came in. Like, that's the way I would fucking think when I would hear these things. So I appreciated reggaeton. Like, in high school, reggaeton, so like Gasolina popped off and Tego Calderon and all these fucking, you know, the classics now.
Can't believe they're classics now. My God.
Dude, oh my God, now you say that. I was driving, I was with a buddy of mine, and he's listening to like bangers, like hip hop songs that were like, I was like, yo. And then it was on the radio, and then the fucking that sound bite that they like, hip hop classics live. And I'm like, is this hip hop classics?
Yeah.
Like, are we at that point, dude?
Yeah, we're old.
And bangers, all the songs that I was like, you know, like Juvenile and fucking hip hop classic lives. I'm like, fuck, dude.
Yeah, we're old as shit. Yeah, it sucks. The other day I was listening to I don't have the radio on ever because I just stream everything, you know, YouTube or Spotify or whatever. But the other day I was driving and I just like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And I heard Stone Temple Pilots and I was like, I fucking love this song, and I let it ride and they're like, classic rock. I'm like, no.
Oh, you want to feel even older? You know what they call that shit on TikTok? That genre.
Is it boomer rock?
Look at your eyes. You ready for this? Dadcore.
No. Dadcore. Fuck.
Dad rock. Dadcore. That type of like, that kind of like a puddle of mud kind of era. Corn.
Hey, madre, man. You know, it's funny. I never, you know, we were talking about reggaeton. I never got into it until I went to a Halloween party in Coconut Grove.
And you saw what the effect of reggaeton was.
Boy, like I had heard it on the radio. I'm like, this is bullshit. Like, it's the same beat over and over. Like, it's, you know, like I let salsa get away with that. You know, salsa has, every salsa song has the same shit. Bam,
Right.
bam, 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 you know, and the trompeta, whatever. It's all the same fucking shit. But salsa, for some reason, I let it slide because I'm like, you know, I listen to like the solos. It's like jazz. Let me hear that. Let me hear that trumpet solo. Let me hear that fucking flute solo.
Right.
Reggaeton had none of that, so I hated it. But then I went to Coconut Grove, and it was a Halloween night, and everybody was outside, and it started kind of raining, and they started blasting reggaeton, and I saw the ladies dancing, and I'm like, oh, I get it.
You put on the Cago hat or whatever, the Kago, whatever those fucking hats.
Yeah.
And the fucking Echo jersey. And you're like, let's go. Let's go.
Yeah, it was crazy. I don't know. But
I enjoyed it. Well, now that I really think about it, I remember when it first started popping off, I thought the same thing. I thought, well, these stupid repetitive, because again, like I was making beats at the time. I was learning how to do, and I just remember thinking how simple some of these but then it was people like Calle 13 that I remember thinking like, yo, people weren't really paying attention to what this guy's saying. Like, he was like poetic over these dope fucking beats, dude, and that got me slowly into it. Then Don Omar was very prolific in his,
Pobre Diablo is the one that kind of turned me, by the way.
Forget about it. Pobre Diablo. Or the other one, aunque digan que soy bandolero donde voy. Like him and Tego.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't get any better, dude. So I slowly started appreciating that,
That's as I get older, I've been actually loosening my musical taste too, because I was very elitist too with like certain rock bands. Like you mentioned Puddle of Mud, like fuck that band, and Nickelback too. But as I get older, I'm like, fuck it, who cares?
Dude, Nickelback. Listen, bro, Nickelback for some reason it was like the Dane Cook of rock. Like it had its moment, and then it got shitted on way longer than it had its moment.
Yeah.
And I never understood it completely, because I'm like, dude, we all know the song. Like, it was like Creed. Like, we all fucking love the song, but why collectively, it was just like, no, we hate that thing. We fucking hate them.
Yeah.
And I feel like if you like them or whatever, like we were in that era where like, if we like we discovered them, we get to hate them, this and that. But our kids or the generation just below us is now finding them, and they're like, they're not that bad. So they might do that. They might have, they could probably now get into their second part of their career. Yeah.
What really turned me off about Nickelback, and it's the same approach that you have. That when you're listening to music, you pay attention to how it's made, it sounds. Yeah, I do the same thing. I was in a band in Miami for 10 years, so it's my thing to like break down. I'm 40.
Oh, 40. So you remember Neurotic November? Oh
yeah, we played with them numerous times.
Yeah, I went to high school with Jamal. Was my boy.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah.
I was a singer in Dissever. And we played with Neurotic November. We played
Listen to Reason. You remember any of those?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. I mean, those are all high school.
Cafe Cristal. Cafe Cristal. Yeah, I mean.
What's the farm? What's the farm up there, up north?
Talent Farm.
Talent Farm, dude.
It's a fucking warehouse.
Yeah, it was rapey as shit.
It's a garage.
It was like a dream of mine to perform there, but I never.
It was all right. I played there a couple of times. Like it was for me, my dream venues happened near the end of our run, and it was like Culture Room and Revolution or Chili Pepper when it was called the Chili Pepper, but then it turned into Revolution.
Or Vagabond. Remember that room?
Vagabond. I used to go to Vagabond just to dance and listen to like the Strokes or whatever weird hipster dance music they were playing.
Yeah.
I used to go to Gothy nights at the Kitchen. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Kitchen Club.
It was a little before me, but I remember people talking about the Kitchen.
Yeah. I was super gothy, and I like spooky stuff, obviously, but I wasn't like dressing up in trench coats and all that shit.
That was that Columbine era. That was that fucking right. That was that like early 2000s era where like very trench coaty, slim knotty kind of like what's this guy Manson?
Marilyn Manson.
Manson.
He's a Florida boy. I mean, Churchill's was his place. Dude, there's a video, by the way, going viral now on the reels on Instagram of some girl talking about Miami Mondays and like, I'm going to show you where Marilyn Manson started. And she like points at Churchill's and I'm like, girl, get out of there. Get out of there. Get in your car.
That's a fucking New Yorker that came down here. And she's like, this is like nice. Like everyone's like, fucking leave, dude.
Run.
Yeah.
Churchill's.
They closed Churchill. Like
I heard. That's sad. Yeah. Man. That was our home base. Like that's where DeSever got
Tobacco Road.
No, yeah, Tobacco Road got shut down before I left. Yeah, we played Tobacco Road a few times.
Marilyn Manson went to fucking Broward Community College, dude. He's right here.
Yeah.
Fucking nerd. Yeah.
Nerd. Yeah, I mean, I saw pictures. He was absolutely a fucking nerd.
He tucked it back and paid himself white, and he fucking he did all the weird. People were like, "Yo, he took out his ribs to suck his own dick." It's like, how far did they go with how weird this guy was?
I mean, he did some stuff that they said, not the rib thing, but like, I mean, I know he used to shove lollipops up his ass and then like try to feed it to people.
But who hasn't done that? You know what I'm saying?
Oh man, yeah, dude. It's Miami to me is still. I don't want to call it home because I don't really, I've been all over the place, but. Like I said, 10 years of being in a band down there playing, in Hialeah, in Totolochi Drive.
You went to high school here?
Yeah, I went to South Miami senior, which was a fucking prison without windows. No windows. None.
Oh my God.
The only, by the way, if you were on the second floor or the third floor, the only way out was this escape hatch that they had in like some of the rooms. And it was literally just you open it and then you fall to your death because there was no ladder. There was nothing. It was, if there's a fire, wait for the firemen to pull out one of those inflatable things and you could jump onto it.
It was a useless. It was just to release pigeons. They had that.
Oh yeah, man. And the school was a nightmare. Like the security guards were banging the students and getting arrested.
Yeah, Hialeah High had some of that too. Yeah.
I blackmailed my way out of high school.
Is that right?
Yeah, dude. I was failing. It was my senior year, and I was failing 2 or 3 classes. I don't remember, but I went and had I used to have a recorder with me all the time because I would just record a
recorder like a
no like one of these things, but
recorder.
Like I would record
Kevin McAllister fucking
but I would take it to class and I would like leave it on and like my friends and I would just talk shit and I would enjoy. That's where the podcasting.
Oh my God, dude, how progressive of you, dude.
Yeah. So like I was like, let me just record everything, and then I had it in my pocket. I talked to my vice principal and I was like, hey man, I need to graduate. Like I don't want to be here anymore. You know what I mean? It's terrible. And he was like, oh, I'm sorry. You're going to have to do another year. It's not going to, we can't do it. And I'm like, fuck, no. And he and I shared a last name. So he and I would talk to him all the time, kind of like family almost. Like I treated him like an uncle because he had the same last name. And then, after I finally accepted that I was going to do another year, he starts talking about one of the security guards that got arrested for banging a student. And I'm like, okay. And we started talking about that. And then he starts talking about a student that he wanted to. And I was like, tell me more. Which one? Her? Oh, yeah, she's so hot. And he just kept going on and on and on. And as soon as he finished, I grabbed the recorder out of my pocket. I'm like, so let's talk about how I'm going to graduate.
Is he still principal? Because he might have ruined his.
I don't know. He's probably not.
I thought you were gonna go down like him going like, which is still as bad. But I thought he was gonna be like, "Oh, how bad do you want to graduate?"
Oh no!
Damn, dude, no way that happened.
Yeah, dude. I told him, I'm like, look, I like you, but get me out of here. And so we
blackmailed your principal.
So he basically he told me, look, if you attend every day of summer school, every don't miss a day of summer school, I'll give you the credits you need. And that's how I graduated South Miami Senior.
Get the fuck out of here, black.
What can you do? But no, wait, it's been an hour. I feel like I can talk to you forever.
That was great, bro. That was great.
If you ever come to Los Angeles,
Yes.
hit me up, and I could probably, get you a spot at the store.
Oh, it'd be great, man. Last time I went to LA, okay, love you. Last time I went to LA, I dropped into the store, and it was my first time, dude. It was, what a fucking experience, bro. Just walking in there, knowing that those walls have heard and seen what they've seen and heard. Oh, yeah. Just walking around. I didn't give a fuck to go up. I was in a museum, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, it's addictive. It's addictive, man. Like when I moved out here from Miami, the very first place I went before we even put our bags down was the Comedy Store.
Really?
I went straight there because we landed and I looked at my phone. I'm like, what are we going to do tonight? And I saw that there was a show. It was like, what's this guy? Judd Apatow, Rogan, and a couple dudes were doing a night. And I'm like, yeah, let's just go there. And we went straight there and I fell in love to the point that we moved. I live now 8 minutes from the store because of the store.
In La Jolla? Is that where it's at?
No, that's the one. There's one in La Jolla. I'm in the one in Hollywood.
One in Hollywood. Damn, then I wonder which one. Maybe they both have it, but which one has the names written outside the?
That's the Hollywood. The Hollywood.
That's the Hollywood. That's the one I went to.
Yeah. So it's super addictive to the point. Like I when I walk in there, even the shitty smell. It smells bad because it's just years of people and. Yeah, cigarettes and cleaning fluids that they don't really clean. They just kind of fragrance the place.
Same fucking throw up towel.
Yeah, it smells like shit. But when I'm like, I'm home. Like,
But that's what you want. That's what that like that. That's like a real bodybuilder going to fucking one of those like dusty fucking they don't want to go to LA Fitness.
Yeah.
Or everything's like wiped down and clean. Like, no, real, like one of those bodybuilders really wants to go to one of those.
Well, it's a good comparison. It's a good comparison. A lot of people call the store a workout room. Like that's where people go work out their material. Yeah.
And I remember in the hallway, I'm standing there and I look up. I didn't even realize I'm just looking down like this and I'm kind of taking everything in. And I look up and I see they have like 6 huge
portraits
of I was right in front of Robin Williams. It just so happened I didn't even I didn't see it when I walked in, but I'm walking around like that and I turn over and I'm in the hallway and I'm just right there, right with fucking Robin Williams, man. To think that's
where he was. That's where
Richard Pryor, Steve Martin. I mean, you name it. I mean, fuck, who hasn't stepped on that stage?
Yeah. It's unfortunately that hallway is turning into the hallway of death because everybody on that wall's dying.
Saget's there too, I think.
Saget's there. Louis, not Armstrong. Is it Armstrong? Louis Anderson. Sorry, jeez, why Louis Armstrong?
the fucking.
But yeah, Louis Anderson, Saget, Robin Williams. Now they have Brody Stevens up there as well.
All right, yeah, he used to do those late. His famous late shows, man.
Oh yeah. So I mean, it's a wonderful, magical place, but it's not for everyone.
No,
I see some people go up and they eat shit on stage and go back to the haha or something, guy. Like, what do you...
I know the guy that started that, I think.
Oh, okay. Well, it's like the haha's in the Comedy Store scene. The haha is where you send the scrubs.
Really? Yeah. Well, I went. You know what I loved about the Comedy Store, and I think obviously it has the name and it has the draw. But dude, I was there on a Monday night. I believe it was a Monday night, and it was a fucking Saturday night here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The Comedy Store felt like a Saturday night club here on a fucking I think it was Monday or Tuesday night.
Yeah. Every day of the week is chaos. It's packed, and then there's always surprises too. Like I was there. I think I might have told this before on the show, but I was there just chilling at the bar because I've become friends with all the bartenders and the staff because that to me like that's how you become part of the family. Just meet the people that are working, So I was hanging out with the bartender, just talking shit, and I hear somebody like, "Can I get two whiskeys or whatever?" And I'm like, I know that voice, and I look over, and it's fucking Quentin Tarantino.
Just shit.
At the front bar, like not even in the hot, like in the special bar.
Outside bar, yeah.
He's just chilling in the front. I'm like, what the fuck? And he's like, hey man. And I'm like, oh, hey. And then he just like orders his drinks and he looks at me. He starts telling me a story. And I'm just like mesmerized, like, fuck. I'm like, he's telling me a story right now. And then I look around and then people started fucking, gathering.
Of course, yeah.
And then he just turned and starts telling the story to everyone. And it was just like, all right, now he's just performing.
How often, that's what's so fucking gangster, I imagine, about LA, like where that just happens.
Yeah, every day.
Sure, it just happened. Like when I went on a Monday night, random as fuck, the back room, obviously I'm like, I don't give a fuck if I get kicked out. Like, I don't know when's the last time I'm going to be back. So I snuck out. I went into whatever room I could. At one point, I think I was even in the kitchen. And they're like, hey, you got to fuck it. So, and then I went, I guess it's the back. What's that room down that hallway to the back? Is that the belly room?
The belly room's upstairs.
All right. Well, I didn't go there. So I guess is that the original?
There's the original room and there's the main room, which is the big stage.
So the main room.
Yeah,
I went to the back of the main room and it was Dane Cook on Kill Tony.
Oh, dude, yes.
And I'm like, and it was just for a second. They had just kind of like wrapped it up or whatever. And I walk in and Kill Tony's there, which now I've met Tony now here at the Improv, at the Miami Improv. But I'm just like, I can't fucking believe I just stumbled. Like I just stumbled on this night like this. Yeah. It was a fucking Monday night, So
Tony's a friend, man. I Kill Tony. I was there at the store during the pandemic while they were doing Kill Tony inside with no audience. I was the audience. It was just me.
Because they're streaming it.
Yeah, they were streaming online. So they were just performing, and it was me and like Gino from Speedweed and like maybe a couple other people. But it was literally like 3 or 4 of us in the crowd trying to keep their spirits up. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, woohoo! Like,
yeah, that's amazing. That's dope, dude.
Yeah, I'm very grateful that I've got that opportunity. But like I said, when you come out here, hit me up. I'll take you there.
Likewise.
Introduce you to the right folks, and get everything going for you. But
appreciate that.
Tell everyone. I mean, it's harsh. It's hard to not find you online these days. I gotta tell you, you're killing the game.
Sorry about that, bro.
You're killing it. No, you're killing it. All of my friends send me clips of your shit.
Thank you, dude.
Yeah, I mean, like it's everywhere, and you're killing it. So let people know where they can find you, follow you, and all that good stuff.
Well, like you said, man, I mean, my name, I've been fortunate enough to really brand the name. So, I mean, if you Google or just look up Mario Ramil, you'll see all my social media. Pretty much all my social media.
You said that so gringo, too. Mario Ramil.
Mario Ramil.
Ramil.
Mario Ramil.
Ramil.
That sounds more, even the last name's aggressive. Yeah, Ramil. But Mario Ramil on pretty much on everything, or it's Mario Ramil Comedy on Instagram, pretty much on everything. Mario Ramil or Mario Ramil Comedy is how you can find me. So
when's your next show at the Improv in Miami?
We have one November 23rd, I believe, which is the Wednesday before Thanksgiving.
All right. So if you're in Miami, which I know a bunch of you that are watching this are, because that's, my friends, go see Mario at the Improv in November. Buy tickets.
Just sold out. We sold out in 4 days, which I'm not trying to brag about it. Which I'm like, come on now. But also, there's no tickets.
Okay.
So we can't.
So
but
te jodiste, basically.
Te jodiste, you know what I'm saying? So they asked me to add a second show. I'm just like, there's something about the exclusivity of not being able to get in there. That it's just like, and that's the 1 year. This is my 3rd year doing it. The Wednesday before Thanksgiving. So it's really has become this big event. So if you happen to be in town, dude, stop on by. And it'd be a pleasure to meet you personally.
Yeah.
And it's been good. Yeah. So November 23rd, we just actually got back from Bimini. We did a show in Bimini as well. So the live stuff has really been picking up. And I do want to maybe that's something we can talk about. The next stop on the list is California. So that could absolutely be something, I'd love to talk to you about.
Yeah, hit me up. You know how to get a hold of me. Let's stay in touch. But everybody, please follow Mario. Go see his shows. Go watch his videos. Like them. All that good stuff. The algorithm bullshit,
All that garbage we got to do to fucking expose ourselves. Yeah.
Like, share, subscribe, smash the button. All that shit. But bro, it's been a pleasure, man. And hopefully we'll meet soon enough.
Likewise, man. Thank you for having me.
man.
Dude. Awesome
Take care,
dude,
brother.
man. Awesome dude. Appreciate it.
Later.